ladies, do you think mandatory paternity testing would hurt or help women in today's society?
I don't know. I feel like that's such a broad question because I feel like in some ways it could be harmful, but in other ways I think overall it would be helpful in terms of, you know, child support and knowing it. But it's like, that's odd because it's like, what's the circumstances? Is it just like for every birth there's a paternity test?
Yeah.
In what ways would that be harmful?
Yeah, I was going to ask
Just
the
like,
same
because
thing.
like if like the person is an abuser, someone who's like, you know, doesn't necessarily, they don't want to be tied to the person.
Well, I mean, if it's that person's...
Yeah, but do you have a right to hide paternity based on the fact that the other person's abusive?
I mean...
I don't get what she's trying to say, though, bro. That doesn't even make any sense. Just because the person's abusive don't mean they don't have a right to know if the child is theirs or not. They still have a right to know because you only did not make that child.
I don't like where this is going.
Let's see where this is all going, bro.
I would want to do anything to get out of it.
You think so?
I do, just because if you're abusive to me, what are you going to do with the child?
Yeah.
That doesn't... Okay.
What?
Listen, you don't have a right to hide the paternity from a father based upon whatever your analysis is of abuse.
Wait, these women talking like they own the kid. You don't own the child. That child is not just yours. You still have to tell him, bro. He still has the right to know that's his child. Regardless of how you feel about him, you can't just make that decision all by yourself.
Emotionally abusive.
Yeah,
which means nothing. It means nothing.
That's crazy.
No, it's not.
No, it's not crazy.
It's not. Because
Emotional abuse is nothing?
Yeah, it means nothing. It's
it means
a subjective
nothing.
analysis.
It's subjective.
Wow.
Interesting.
That's an interesting
Well, listen, it is subjective. Give me an objective standard
I mean,
for
I
what's
don't think
emotional
that's
abuse.
subjective in the terms of psychology at all.
Yeah, it is. It's most subjective in psychology.
Exactly.
It's a subjective analysis. So like, let me give you an example. I can give you a really easy one, okay? Let's say that you're going out and you're overspending from my perspective. Like, let's say I'm married to a woman, and I say, listen, you're overspending, okay? And you say, well, listen, I really need to spend this because I need X, Y, and Z for the household. You think the paper towel holder and this and that is very important. Maybe it is. Maybe it is important. And I think it isn't. So I go and I cut off your access to that threshold of money and give you a lesser threshold of money that I think is appropriate and you don't think is appropriate. Is that abuse?
Again, let's go.
It's about time.
In that specific scenario, there's just like several factors to whether or not something is or isn't financial abuse.
Because it's subjective. That's why.
And it's predicated on how the woman feels about what you say.
Hold on.
Because
hold on. Go ahead.
And it's predicated on how the woman feels about what you say. Like, a lot of women just don't take kindly to being criticized at all. They don't take kindly to a guy. Even if a guy gets moderately upset and he raises his tone a little bit, you have women who will consider that emotional abuse. That's not emotional.
How? But I mean, to me, emotional abuse is like verbally saying really degrading, horrible things, and like a systemic thing over systemic thing over time. Excuse me. And so, I mean,
like
maybe I didn't initially understand the point you were trying to make with the suggestive, because subjective. Sorry, I'm stuttering really bad now.
It's okay.
But in terms of emotional abuse being a factor, I think is important, though it is suggestive.
So subjective.
Thank you, subjective.
Yeah.
Even though it is subjective, it is something that, I mean, has long-standing effects on both parent and child. But when my initial point, I was thinking more so abuse of the other aspects, because emotional is impactful, but it's not as dangerous to like the health of the child versus the other ones.
So let's move into, okay, if fair enough, you say, okay, when it comes to this, it's subjective, so maybe we wouldn't hide paternity on that. But if we move over to physical abuse, let's say, right? You think that that's cut and dry. Well, what if this guy, he's convicted of physically abusing the mom? Then shouldn't we be able to hide paternity? If she says, yeah, I still say no, and here's why. Because plenty of people get accused of doing domestic violence or doing things like this, and they haven't actually done it. And so we're going to yield to the word of the woman in this case and hide the paternity of that man's child for something which could easily be a falsehood. That's immoral.
What is he doing?
Okay, and I see that, but for me, it's like, if you're talking about a mandated paternity test, then at that point, that's the government getting involved in between the relationship and the personal affairs of people. And I am the kind of person that prefers to step off of unnecessary, like, government control.
You're a communist. You want the government involved in the life, literally every single aspect.
Who the hell said I was a communist?
You did.
When?
Didn't you earlier? Didn't
no,
you say you were a
I was
communist?
talking about capitalism, and you said the word communism when that word never left my mouth.
So socialism?
I mean, first, I'm not really here to debate politics.
Okay, I'm just asking this.
I came here to talk about
Are
dating.
you a socialist?
I mean, I consider myself a leftist.
Okay, yeah, you don't care if government's involved in your life for all kinds of stuff. What, did you care if the government was involved in my life when there was certain mandates going on around? You didn't give a shit. But now suddenly you care about. Now suddenly you care about this.
Hold on.
I can't get into that.
Let's not get into it.
But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay, I do now. Yes.
Yeah.
But
wait, I have a question. You said when it comes to you wouldn't want the government involved with mandatory paternity testing.
Like over people's autonomy.
But let me ask you a question. Let's say, do you want kids one day?
No.
Huh?
That was kind of an asshole move. But
let's keep it nice.
That was a real asshole move.
Yeah, let's keep it nice, guys. Let's keep it nice, okay?
Because some people are smart enough to know what's best for them, and for me in my life,
okay,
I don't want to have children.
Just let me ask the question, okay?
But I would, if I wanted to, be a good mother.
Okay, so my question is though, do you think you said you wouldn't want the government involved when it comes to paternity testing, whatever? When you're putting in a mandated paternity test, then that is adding a complicated layer of paperwork and testing. No, it's just literally you're already in the hospital. It's actually the perfect scenario to. But like, does that apply to married? Here's my further questions: is like, does that apply to married couples or couples that are
married, whatever, bro? This panel is stressing my ass.
What possible argument could a woman have towards asking you to get a paternity test other than it makes her feel bad?
If she's unfaithful.
Or like you don't trust
Other than it makes her feel bad. What could the argument possibly be? Give me a single argument other than because it makes me feel bad. I want to hear it.
But why would you want to make her feel bad?
So that's I feel bad?
If you're worried that she'd be cheating on you, why would you even want to?
So that's I feel bad? It's I feel bad?
Saying clearly we don't have a strong foundation. Sorry.
That's I feel bad.
No, it's not. I'm saying we don't have a strong foundation.
Why would that matter if it didn't make one of them feel bad?
Because she could say, like, if we don't have a strong foundation of trust and faith.
Because it makes her feel bad.
No, she could feel neutral about it and still be like, oh, okay,
so
he
if
doesn't trust me.
Wait a second,
and maybe he's gonna be constantly
if she
anxious
feels neutral about it, if she feels neutral about it, if she feels neutral about it, who cares?
Let her finish her point.
Say your point.
If she feels neutral about it, then who cares?
I'm saying if you don't have trust in a relationship, typically that will lead to a bad relationship, regardless if the parties in the relationship feel bad about it or not. That was my only point.
Yeah, but that's the only argument is feel bad.
No, it's not. I literally said it doesn't matter if they feel bad or not. She can object and say clearly we don't have a strong foundation.
38 donated $200. Love your hair, Maddie. GL with your marriage. Brian, love the Andrew Marathon. Shout out Crucible. Taking Farah as my wife. KTHX.
Okay, thanks. Yo, Bone Man, thank you, man. Appreciate it. Welcome. Good to see you back in the chat, man. Go ahead, Farah, with your point.
I completed it.
Yeah, so...
Oh, she completed it.
The only reason that the trust variable is there is because it would make one feel bad over the other. That's it.
Women.
So the only argument you would make for the trust is, you don't trust me, and that... What, Farah? You don't trust me, and that makes me...
But it doesn't have to make you feel bad.
Then why would it matter? Why would it matter?
It's the basis of a relationship.
It's a foundation relationship.
Because if it's not... And why is it a foundation?
Okay, what about this?
It's based on how people feel.
Maybe you don't care or not. You're completely apathetic to whether your wife cheats on you, but maybe you still don't want her to do that, even if you have no emotional reaction to it, because you think that creates an unstable foundation for a relationship.
Then
even if you're completely apathetic and maybe you're a cuck and you get off to it.
Then why would you care about the paternity test? How would that be an argument if it's just a neutral?
You were saying, what is an objection to your boyfriend asking you for a paternity test? And I'm saying you could say, we're missing an important tenet of our relationship, an important pillar that isn't contingent on me feeling good or bad about it. That was my only point.
Then if you don't feel good or bad about it, why would it be an important pillar?
Same way I told you, maybe if your wife's cheating on you, but you don't necessarily care, wouldn't you agree that that could have adverse effects on the relationship, regardless about how you feel about it personally?
Those would be, like, the adverse effects that you would be talking about are, like, her getting pregnant?
No, not necessarily.
Her giving you a VD?
Even if she was infertile.
Her giving you VD?
What is that?
Venereal disease?
I don't think those would be your only objections to your wife stepping out on you.
Other than how that makes you feel, then I don't understand the objective.
You're religious. From your Christian purview, you could probably outline a plethora of reasons for why you wouldn't want your girlfriend or wife to be sleeping with other people other than it makes you feel bad. You'd probably think it has adverse outcomes on the relationship. Yes, that's true.
I could appeal to an objective standard, yes. What if neutrally it didn't make you feel bad for your wife to go out and do this thing? What would be her objection?
Okay, what if I found out my husband cheated on me and I genuinely have zero emotional reaction to it, but I still want to dump him?
There is no way you would dump him if you don't feel bad.
Who are you?
That's just the bottom line. If your partner cheats on you, you will dump him because you feel disrespected, you dump him because you feel you are not enough for him. All that is part of you feeling bad. But the truth is, women shouldn't object to paternity test. They should see it as a normal thing, because if I have any objection or if I have any form of concern, then you should help me put those concerns to rest as my partner. It shouldn't be a thing that we should be debating about. Other than you feeling bad, like you said, there's really nothing holding you back to just feel, you know what, yeah, do the paternity test. Let's get this over and move on with our life.
Can I see you?
Yeah. For the most part, I feel like before most guys will ask for paternity test, there must be some smoke somewhere.
Why do you want the honesty and the trust inside of the relationship if you don't care if he cheats?
It's not about don't care. I can care without it making me feel bad.
Yeah, but okay, so you care, but it doesn't make you feel bad?
That could happen, yeah.
How?
Yeah.
You can't control your emotional response to something. Maybe you find out someone cheats on you, or you found out your husband, texted another girl, and you're like, okay, this violates my boundaries.
And you would care about that because it makes you feel bad.
People have boundaries that aren't always directly, purely correlated to their feelings about it.
Oh, really? So if guy is texting and you don't care, that means...
It's not about don't care. It maybe doesn't make me feel bad.
Oh, if it doesn't make you feel bad, then you don't care, right?
I don't agree with that.
What?
Guys, this is where I'm gonna stop this episode. They're just rambling back and forth on the same thing. There's no way you dump your partner if what they are doing doesn't make you feel bad. Before you dump them, it simply means it has elicited some level of negative emotion in you. Guys, what do you think? Do you think DNA should be mandatory in every relationship? I think it should, so that people can be sure 100 that the child they're taking home is theirs. Go into the comment section, tell me what you think, and if you are new to this channel, all you can do for me is subscribe. Click the notification bell so you don't miss my future update. And on that note, I say thank you once again for joining me on Short Burst. Until I see you again, peace.
Do you see me